What's going on, everyone? I'm Jaren, and the holidays have been hectic so far. I've been trying to catch up with movies, trying to review them, write them down, shoot them. This is one of them. I've been sitting on this review for the last couple weeks and just finding time to get in front of the camera, giving my energy and all that kind of stuff. It's been tough. Been spending a lot of time with the family and friends, just trying to catch up on movies too, wrapping presents, delivering them, just Christmas shopping all around. And then there's just my hectic work schedule, which I've only had like literally 2 days off over the last 3 weeks, and as well as like my side gigs going on. It's just been crazy, okay? Also sleep, can't go without that. And I've been working on me, I've been trying to go to the gym and such, but don't want to bore you guys with all that stuff. We're here to talk about Moana 2. After receiving an unexpected call from her wayfinding ancestors, Moana must journey to the far seas of Oceania and into dangerous and long-lost waters for an adventure unlike she's ever faced. Now, for those of you who don't know, I actually am a resident here on the island of Maui, and the film scene has definitely changed exponentially here over the last decade. It's been 8 years since the release of that film, and I am still meeting a lot of guests that really only decided to vacation here on the island because of that movie. And it really just opened doors for a lot of the next generation to Hollywood, especially with Ali Carvalho and Dwayne Johnson being tremendous influences. And, a lot of fans have been waiting, when are we going to be getting a sequel? So once the pandemic hit and a lot of movie theaters began to shut down, Disney solely shifted their focus into making content for their Disney Plus platform only. And then a lot of intellectual properties got picked up and gotten the TV series treatment, Marvel, Star Wars, and Moana 2 being one of them. And then later down the line, maybe a couple years later when the theaters began to reopen, a lot of movies began to track a lot more record, bring the audience back, bring the fans back, and Disney thought that a few of their projects would be the beautiful catalyst to bring Disney fans back, including Moana 2, which eventually got repurposed into a feature-length film instead of a series. And that raised a lot of concerns because they were really just pushing the toy line more than they were pushing their own sequel. And with the live-action iteration of Moana just hard at work and getting ready to release next year, I was just more excited about watching the sequel to Moana versus them trying to redo and rehash the original. And after finally seeing the movie, honestly, I thought it was pretty good. Not as great as I was hoping it would be, but cinematically deserving nonetheless. Ali Carvalho and Dwayne Johnson are back as Moana and Maui, and it feels like yesterday that they just slipped back into their roles. And I gotta say, I was really looking forward to their team up. My expectations were just way too high for this one. It does take nearly half the movie for our two heroes to finally reunite and team up, but on retrospect, I thought it was very integral for their character growth. I think my mistake was actually measuring up a children's animated film to a adult action blockbuster sequel, which should never be the case, especially when the story should come first before the spectacle. Starting off with the animation, I just thought it was immaculately executed, especially when it comes to like the ocean. There were just several shots where it just moved and looked so fluid that if I reached out to touch it, I feel like I could get drenched in water. And I really like a lot of the action sequences with the monsters and the bad weather that felt so eye-popping and grand. And especially when it comes to, the distinctive designs of the creatures and the deities of the Pacific. I was just really curious as to how and what Hawaiian legends that the filmmakers were influenced by. Getting into the music, I remember when the first movie came out, and that soundtrack was just excellent. It was perfect. Even before the movie came out, the kids, they were just listening to and jamming out to every single track list that it was infectious enough for you to just put up in your car, listen to it, sing to it, and just not be bothered that it was going to be part of a musical. And for the sequel, I felt like it was a step down, slightly forgettable in comparison. I mean, the only two songs that I actually can remember were We're Back and Beyond, both sung by Ali Carvalho as Moana. And God, when it came to Maui's song, I think I like the message more than the actual song itself. I mean, it was just kind of cringy, especially when you compare it to You're Welcome. I almost wish Tamatoa came back to make some kind of follow-up song list to, what was that song again? Shiny. Shiny, gotta go and kick yo honey. Getting into the script, it was fairly obvious that the length of this story was meant for a series. While the overall plot takes a while for it to pick up steam, the audience gets to engage with some fresh new faces that join Moana on her quest, including Moni, who is very knowledgeable in history. We got Loto, who is very handy when it comes to boats, and Kele, the crazy old man who has never left land. The villain, the main villain, and even this possible threat, this menace, Nalo and Montanji, they pretty much feel like cameos. They pretty much are benched from making any real consequences in this movie, and they're just winking at the audience, hinting for their imminent move to be made in a third and possible installment. And it is just clear as day that all these fresh new faces, all these characters, all had extensive development in the original series script. And I'm not mad about it. It does not feel rushed. There's just so much richness to all these characters that I absolutely admire it. It's just that there's so much left to be desired because there's just not enough time of like 100 minutes of movie to unveil all that, to unpack all of it. And I'm just really hoping that we could get some deleted extended scenes on the 4K Blu-ray. Having said that, I genuinely enjoyed our new additions to our heroes, including Moni, who is a really big fan of Maui, and a lot of their initial reactions are very hilarious. We also have Loto, who has probably got some kind of attention disorder, and she has probably found caffeine for the first time because she is just hyper and really good at her job. And Kele, he could be just summed up as Mr. Grumpy Pants who just loves plants. When it comes to Hey Hey, Pua, and the Kakamora, they're given a lot more to do in this sequel, and I think the kiddies are going to enjoy how much screen time these guys are going to get. And then Moana's little sister, Samia, she is just a bundle of irresistible cuteness. I just love the sisterly dynamic between the two, and it's just one of the most tender and precious elements of the entire movie that I enjoy. But I do agree with my girlfriend Leanne. I think that the dynamic would have worked a lot better had Samia been a boy. And we got Dwayne Johnson reprising his role once again, and it is no doubt that he was just made to personify the character of Maui. I am just a little bit concerned that when it comes to next year, I just can't picture all that hair on Dwayne Johnson's head. I mean, but as far as the sequel goes, I'm just surprised that they were able to keep him at the right amount of screen time as it was in the first movie. And he's just serving up his demigod ego as far as giving a little more compassion and courage than we last saw him in. And I think he has the best lines in the movie as well as visual humor. And he never fails to level up when it comes down to the adrenaline-fueled third act. Last but not least, the heart and soul of this entire movie, Ali'i Carvalho. And she is the big island girl who was put in the spotlight in front of Hollywood and just blew everyone away with her talent as Moana. And I love seeing Moana just a little more grown up here, her taking on responsibility for her village, as well as her role as chief. She searches to connect her people with others beyond the reef, and those answers to those questions come at a price. Her leadership is put on display here, both resilient and vulnerable, and a lot of her relationship with her younger sister Samia really adds to the emotional stakes, and it really gives her a lot more motivation for her character to fight for the future. Overall, while this isn't necessarily neck and neck perfection with that original film, it still manages to deliver a competent Disney sequel. It's kind of like Frozen 2 or a solo Avenger movie where we're just trying to get to the next Avengers event, to the next big team up. Some people might actually like this sequel a lot better than the first one, and that is totally valid. There's just something more to appreciate under the surface of a middle chapter to a much bigger adventure that lies ahead, so don't forget to stick around for that mid-credit scene. Well, alright guys, that's all I got to share about that movie. Go ahead and check it out if you want to. If you've seen it already, go watch it the second time. Go watch it a third time, maybe a fourth time. Show Disney that you're not just waiting on Disney Plus for it. Go support this film. Guys, I want to thank you guys for taking some time out of your day to hear me talk some movies. I am Jaren Banawag. I hope you guys are staying safe during the holidays. Look forward to more reviews, and I will see you guys at the theater. Take care.